Welcome back to another segment in my element series. Today I want to break down potassium. What's its role in the plants? What does it do? How do you spot deficiencies? How can you spot a toxicity? And all that fun stuff with this macronutrient. So potassium actually takes part in the photosynthesis process, and it helps to improve the synthesis of the carbohydrates, your proteins, and your amino acids, which those are basically the building blocks of all your soils. And not only that, it does help to improve the resistance to plants during droughts, which are really going to help more on your outdoor grows, unless you just completely forget about watering your plants indoors, which in that case they're going to suffer from being too dry anyways. But it also does increase the consistency and the strength of the plant tissues. Now, why is that important? Because it's going to help you get those big, nice stalks. Even using silica will help that, but that potassium that's what increases those structure of your cell walls. It's also going to help to improve the fruits and size of your flowers later on during the flowering cycle. Now, potassium, when it works together with phosphorus, it also helps to improve the strength and the resistance of your root zones. That's another thing that's super important, just besides using any kind of beneficial bacteria and funguses and things like that. These micronutrients are what's going to help to explode that root zone. So not only is potassium important during the flowering side, like most bloom boosters that you're going to see, even like this one's like a 0.5, 6, 18, which is usually 10 on the flower side, but it also plays a very important role in that vegetative growth of your plants as well. Now, one thing that I have noticed on a toxicity level, which I'm going to show you a picture here in just a second, but on that toxicity side, it will cause a nutrient lockout. Which is going to happen is it's going to block a lot of those micronutrients, such as like manganese and zincs and irons and magnesiums and things like that. So here, let's take a look at this plant that has a toxicity to it and how we can kind of start to spot these. So you can tell we've got our nice green happy leaf, and as you're adding too much of that to it, you're going to start to see tip burn on theirs. The tops of the leaves are actually going to grow out these thinner blades instead of those nice thicker ones that you're really looking for. You're going to, over time, you'll see this plant to slightly yellowing. So it's going from a yellow to a brown to where these things just curl up and they just fall off your plant. Now, toxicities are easier to fix in my opinion, just because if you can spot them fast enough, the easiest thing is just flush those out. Now, you will be flushing out a lot of your other macro and micronutrients, but if you notice that is the toxicity problem, flush those out and then you can start back over from square one. On a deficiency side, let's take a look at this. So you'll actually see a scorching and a curling of the leaf tip as they begin to yellow, or they're going through a chlorosis. Also, you'll see purpling in there. You'll start to see purple spots on the leaves themselves or purple on the underneath of there. So that's a good sign of a potassium deficiency. Unlike on the phosphorus side that I showed last time, where you actually see it down the stem of the plant, that's a phosphorus versus a potassium deficiency. Now, I know I've done one on langbeinite before, but again, it is a great source of potassium. You can mix this in with your soils in the very beginning, so that way you're getting that role that they need during that vegetative growth. Also, with this being a crystalline mineral, it's going to slowly break down and it'll be available all the way through the flowering of your plant. So that way you've got basically all the potassium you need with just one product. Now, let's say you don't want to use langbeinite, you want to use something else, or if you're spotting a deficiency faster than what sometimes this can break down, there's liquids. Now, I don't really see a lot of liquids that's just pure potassium. I'm sure there's some out there, but from what I have around here, the HPK is going to be a good one just to fix that, which is just phosphorus and it's potassium. Now, the potassium isn't high, but in a liquid form, it will break down a lot faster. Usually within a day or two, you at least can get some of that potassium to your root zones to help kind of fix any of these deficiencies. Now, on the bloom booster side, like I said again, it's a 0.5, 6, 18. So it's high in potassium. Now, it has some phosphorus. Even, I know it says a bloom booster, in a bind, if you are seeing a deficiency, hit it with something like this, because it will break down a little bit faster than my langbonite will, because this is more of a powder form. You can brew this into a tea, anything like that, to kind of help kickstart in the vegetative growth, even in the bloom side. You can tell you're going to have a high amount of potassium in here, even with your phosphorus, so it's going to get you through that bloom side too. So it's just one of those things where you kind of pick and choose what you want to use, how you want to make it. But I know I hype up a lot with this langbonite. It is a great product. I've been using this in my soils for years, and I very seldom run into a potassium deficiency. So in my opinion, hands down, if you're doing some kind of soil blend, go with the langbonite. Hit it later on with some of your bloom boosters to really get those big, dense, tight fruits and flowers that you're looking for. Hopefully this was kind of I know it was a quick rundown on potassium, but I was just trying to hit some high points just so you can kind of spot those deficiencies, spot those toxicities, fix them, and kind of tell you what the role is and why it was important for veg and into flower. Well, tune in next time, guys. I'm going to dive into some of the micronutrients coming up soon. Y'all have a good one.